everybody, Marty Richards here again with Richland Center Tourism, and we are at our favorite winery in Richland County and Vineyard, which you are our only one. Sorry about that. It was supposed to be a compliment. It is a compliment, actually. I love coming up here. I'm here with Colleen Halverson at Wild Hills Winery, and today we're going to talk about a few things that when you come on out, I'm excited to see. And you'll have some excitement when you get here because there's some new opportunities really set up for the future and for growth and some kind of cool things you're adding into the mix from last year. So first thing, we're all vaccinated, dewormed, and declawed. So we're happy, we're healthy, and we're friendly.
I've got all my shots.
There we go. So we've got all our shots. We're outdoors. We're next to each
Housebroken.
other. This is cool to be able to just have discussions and hang out.
Yeah, it's great.
So first thing that I'm excited about here at the winery, you've done a really nice job of expanding kind of your seating area outside. Also, you're taking a vintage shed and really making it a nice outdoor area as well. Is that correct? Tell us about that.
So last summer with COVID, we really had to move operation outside. So for our safety, the safety of our guests. And so we put together a lot of different picnic tables to make that happen. So we had tastings outdoors. We loved it. We really embraced the outdoor setting. And so we're really going to try to continue that this summer. Yep. So we'll probably have more outdoor tastings. We've been doing wine tastings outside. People come in, they can get a flight, they can get a glass of wine, enjoy this beautiful weather that we have this spring. It's out of this world. And yeah, so we've got an 100-year-old shed that is humble.
Yep.
But I was looking at it one day and it was filled with junk and wood, old wood.
It was a farm shed.
It was a farm shed.
Yep.
And and this whole place was full of people. And I'm like, I can't grow anymore. Like, this is it. And then I looked at this old shed and I thought, you know what?
Wait a minute.
Let's empty this out. Why not? I mean, it's a truly rustic Wisconsin experience. So you get to drink wine in an old granary, I think it was. But,
Yep.
It's what we can do for now until we get our new tasting room built.
I noticed that there's actually the granary is still there and
Yep.
on the side, and there's some stories there. If you come out, I'm here, I'll give you the history of granaries in Wisconsin.
Fascinating.
And most of it is my brothers terrorizing me in the granary. So we'll explain that one later. Still a little bit of counseling for me. So, but then also another exciting point that I'm jazzed about because it involves food is that you will have your very own food truck here very shortly.
Yeah, so this is really just listening to the needs of our guests.
Yep.
So when a lot of people come here or they would plan a trip here, they'd say, oh, do you have any food? Do you have, sandwiches or anything we can eat, some light plates? And we do have snacks. We have great snacks. We actually have a summer sausage from the Richland Meat Locker that we just got. We've got Carr Valley cheese. We've got Landmark Creamery cheese. We've got fudge. We've got good stuff,
Yep.
but it's not a meal, right? And so what we wanted to do is to really, if we're going to lure people into this beautiful place in the middle of nowhere, we're very remote, we need to be able to feed people.
You bet.
And that's me. I like, when people come over, I'm going to feed you. You're going to, if you don't,
Yep.
if you walk away and you're not full, like I did something wrong. It's a part of my DNA. So yeah, so we want to feed people and we want to feed people good food. So we really, we're working with some local farmers and local places to get our meat and our vegetables and things like that, and we'll also be using our own farm.
Yep.
So because we do grow apples and pears and black currants and all other things that will go into the cuisine here.
Yep. So, word of warning: if you feed me, I don't leave. Actually.
Well,
so, I mean,
you're always welcome.
Let's
Marty.
be honest.
Yeah.
If you feed me and there's wine, I'm just not leaving.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's the
put
idea.
a little tent out here, maybe just hang out.
And that's the idea. We want people when they come here, we want them to be able to make a day of
Yeah.
it, right?
Yep.
Come and do a vineyard tour, have some lunch, take a walk in the orchard, talk to our staff. We've got a lot of stories too. So,
bet.
we want people to have a really great time when they come here.
You bet. So then that brings up a point. You talked about the weather. We have this spring weather has been
It's amazing.
fabulous. It's a little dry. We're a little concerned about that, although kind of an interesting thing on grapes, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it's dry, the flavor tends to be stronger in grapes.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where we maybe not really want a drought right now, but
Right.
later in the season, as it gets drier and drier, a good drought is great for grapes because it sends a signal to the fruit that, hey, we've, in these drought conditions, we've got to survive. So all that energy goes to the fruit to keep it going. I guess it's biological imperative.
You bet.
Yeah.
But then the one scare we did have this spring was it was a little chilly there just a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And that's getting kind of dangerous with your blossoms and buds on the vines. And I know the folks that kind of check out our behind the scenes videos, Steve Lewis up at Oakwood Fruit Farm did a great job of explaining to us what to look for or what happens. So the biggest question here, I know you mentioned you've got a built-in advantage that rarely do vineyards have. And then kind of tell us how you weathered that storm.
Yeah, so we're definitely on frost watch right now, so keeping an eye on the weather and things we can do to mitigate some of the frost damage. But one advantage we do have, well, we have two advantages. One is the wind. So this very windy day, that actually really, you'd think, I thought it would be a bad thing, like with wind chill factor. It's actually really great because the more wind that is circulating, that keeps the frost from settling on the grapes. So there's other wineries they actually have that are maybe in lower elevations. They actually have built-in fans to keep going when it gets cold, to keep the frost from settling. And the other advantage that we have is altitude, and so the frost doesn't quite always get as high as it does here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of great advantages: the wind, the altitude. Also, we have a lot of sun here, so it's
I live in the valley. And then talking with others, I've noticed if you're in the valley to the top of the hill, there's usually a good 2 degree to 3 degree difference.
Yep.
So that gives
Yep.
you a break there as well.
Absolutely.
So excellent.
But
so
no, grapes are looking great. And we've been pruning. So this is pruning season.
Yep.
And so we've been pruning. So we have 11,000 vines that we have to prune. Pruning started at the end of February, and we're going to go probably until June.
Oof.
We've got a lot of old growth that needs to be cut away to keep the vines healthy, but they're looking great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of talk about facility, changes, food, the vines. The one thing we really haven't talked about is your wine, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to step inside so we can get a look at that and just an idea of how your wines line up this year versus last year.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Stepped inside at Wild Hills Winery with Colleen, Halverson again, and we're going to take a look at some changes they've made and when you come, what your experience will look like and the things you can expect to enjoy. So the first thing, Colleen, I know we've had some discussions about, we have a tour business and bring people up and do different things, and I know you have a differentiation between flights and tastings, and it kind of, I think probably through the operation was necessary, but also with COVID times and things like that. So kind of help me understand the changes you've made.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I should say is that we're both vaccinated, and usually when we're inside, we are still wearing masks.
Yep.
So I'm not wearing masks because I know you.
Yep, and again, I have all my shots.
All
so
our
I'm
shots, so we're good. But our hosts are always masks. So with COVID, so we used to, before time, we used to gather around this bar. We would have maybe a dozen people. Sometimes I'd have 20 people gathered around here.
We had a night. We had 32 people.
Yes,
in here.
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was wild. But with COVID, we couldn't really do that anymore. So what we did is that we changed to flights. And so flights are 4 2-ounce pours. We have a preset menu you can get a $9 flight. It's almost about 2 glasses of wine, so it's actually a pretty good deal. Or you can get a custom flight for 12, so you can mix and match. And so it's really nice. A lot of people are really liking it because I know sometimes when I go to wine tastings, they're sort of sitting around like, hey, did you forget about me? And I think people are really liking it because they can take it outside,
Yep.
They can go at their own pace and really have their own experience.
I have to share, I was excited when I saw it because there's dry, there's semi-dry, you know, there's
Right,
sweet.
right.
And I'm not you know me, I'm like, Marty will not be partaking of all the sweet wines. So I right away off the bat could see, oh, here are the dry end of
Yeah.
things. I would love to sample that.
Right. So if you're a sweet person, we have a sweet flight.
Yep.
If you're really into fruit wines, we have a fruit wine flight. If you're like dry things, we have a dry. We have semi-dry. We have a
Yeah.
lot of variety. So wherever you are on the spectrum of wine tasting in terms of your palate, we've got it here.
Excellent. So that's a great explanation of, you know, the tastings versus the flight, or really you explained the flight, correct?
Right.
So help us out with the tasting.
Yeah, so we are doing wine tasting. So we started that back up maybe about a couple of months ago, but they are by appointment only. So you can go through our website, wildhillswinery.com, and you can book a time with us. Just send us a message, and we'll try to fit you in at a most convenient time for you. So we have, for our wine tastings, we have 10 wines to try. It's a preset menu, and it's a little bit more of an experience than, say, here's your wine. You're really going to get an explanation of our facility, our vineyard, the history of cold climate grapes, different histories about the grapes
So
themselves.
this is a tour almost. It's
Yeah,
really a long
absolutely.
explanation, or not long, but a good explanation of the history, the grape, the wine. Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
exactly. And you have your own hostess, so you're not, sitting there. Like I said, it's a really great experience. And so we do tastings. We can do it inside. We can do it outside and on the patio as well. But it is by appointment. But I think it's really nice. It's $12, and you get to try 10 wines. It's a preset menu, but you're going to get a really big variety of wines on that menu.
Excellent. So that's tasting versus flights. We understand that. So then the next question that we have, I know this year you've been rolling out new wines.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed some of that switch over and some of the wines you're coming with, because as we've already mentioned, I am not a sweet person. And in many ways.
Don't cross Marty.
My wife's not even here, and Colleen's like, not sweet. So I am more of a dry wine person.
Me too.
And I've seen that scale on that side where I'm like getting excited about some of the items you've come in with, or the varieties.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of help us understand some of the changes you've made and your newer wines you've rolled out.
Right. I really have to credit my husband, Aaron Halverson, who can't be here today because he's very, very busy. But he has done so much to really, I think, raise the level of quality in our wines. He's done a lot of research. He's done a lot of work with our farmers and our farm manager, because really I think the quality of wine, it starts at the grapes. Mm-hmm. You could have the best recipe in the world, the best equipment, but if you don't have quality ingredients, it doesn't matter. Absolutely. So all of that work that we did on the vineyard, all the work that we did with quality control last season, even though Aaron, you know him, he's a big attention to detail guy. I'd tear my hair out because he's like, look at these leaves, and this is not supposed to be in there. I'm like, I know. But now you really see that attention to detail paying off with the quality of our wines. So this wine, for instance, this is our latest wine. This is called Solstice, and it's a blend of St. Pepin, LaCrosse, and La Crescent grapes, all grown at our vineyard. And it is beautiful wine. It's a beautiful wine. It has a lot of citrus, and it also has a little bit of buttery pear, which you get from the LaCrosse, and then the La Crescent adds some nice structure to it, and this really nice mineral finish that dry wine drinkers really enjoy. Yes. I'm really proud of this wine. We named it after. We named it after a place very nearby called Frank's Hill, which has these effigy mounds. It's just 2 minutes away, and these effigy mounds are lined up with the solstice. And I just like that idea. It's kind of a hint to this beautiful place that we live in.
And I have to promo our website at that point, because Frank's Hill is a very interesting place to stop, visit.
Yeah.
A lot of history and meaning there. You go to richlandcentertourism.com and you will find not just Frank's Hill, but also about Wild Hills Winery as well. So Okay, excellent, thank you. And buttery pear, absolutely.
Yep,
I
getting it.
catch that.
Yep.
That makes sense to me.
Yep.
So-
Yep. And so on your flight, Marty,
Yeah.
because you like the dry stuff,
You bet.
we also have a sample of our Marquette. Marquette is a really beautiful, sophisticated, makes a very nice, sophisticated wine, similar to a Pinot Noir. A lot of minerality in this one, some cherry, and we're starting to get some of that tobacco flavor that Marquette's really known for. I know, like for sweet people, they might be like tobacco, gross, but I love it. I love it. Yeah,
I'm like okay, I'm in on that.
well, you think
Yeah.
about like a nice Scotch or something
Yes.
like that
Yep.
has that like they often talk about peat flavors. A wine can have like a tobacco-y flavor.
Absolutely.
So we have that one, and we have our Wanderlust, which is also a new wine, and that's made with our Mary Fauche grape, which is a French-American hybrid. So a lot of strawberry in that wine, and then a kind of smokiness in the finish.
Excellent.
And then we have, what did I pour for you? Wild River Red, which is a blend of Frontenac and Fauche.
Yep.
And this is a very easy, off-dry, it's very easy drinking red wine. Really great for like campfire nights, camping. Love this wine. And then finally, because we're trying the Solstice,
Yes.
I poured you some Moon Dance. Which is made just with our La Crescent grapes.
Okay.
And it's a semi-dry, semi-sweet, beautiful wine, a lot of pear, a lot of melon in it. It's really nice.
And so those are all new wines, if memory serves,
Yeah.
here at the winery just in the last about 8 months, really, right?
Right. So this is our first season making wine. It came from our last year's harvest.
Yep.
And it's nerve-wracking because, I mean, we think of all the work that went into the vineyard and all the work that went into picking grapes, and I mean, it's just a real labor of love. And then you throw it into one of these tanks and you're like, fingers crossed. I hope this all
Hopefully
works
this works out.
I know,
Yeah.
I know,
Yep.
because, and we were prepared. If it doesn't, that's fine.
Yep.
We're learning and trying new things, but I'm really excited about
Yep.
how things have turned out.
And I can speak to it through the winter. We had the snowshoe event up
Yeah.
here that was really cool. That was fantastic. Even in a snowstorm, it was a blast.
Yes, yes.
But you did have the Marquette out by that point. A couple of and I'm excited because for my taste, those were excellent wines. I
Thank
was like,
you.
here we go.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
So okay, well, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
You bet. Thank you for
Yeah.
the guide through things we can expect when we come to, Wild Hills Winery. There are some new experiences, some new food on the way.
Yes.
Again, I may not leave.
So exciting.
But new food on the way. Also new outdoor, areas to explore and enjoy, and then also some new wines to explore and enjoy. So, Colleen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Marty.
Hey,
All right.
we always have to
Cheers.
do the cheers. And ladies and gentlemen, again, we really look forward to your visit to the Greater Richland Area and Wild Hills Winery. I'm Marty Richards with Richland Center Tourism. Have a great day.